Hi, and thank you for tuning in to another instructional video from Humio. In this video, we are discussing one of our latest features we've added to Humio, Scheduled Searches. Scheduled Searches went general availability in version 1.31 of Humio. Recall back into the intro to Humio video series, we introduced Humio Alerts. Scheduled searches are similar. Whereas Humio Alerts run on live queries, Humio Scheduled Searches are static queries that run on a schedule. They take advantage of the same actions as Humio Alerts. Scheduled searches are paired with Humio Actions, formerly known as notifiers. These allow Humio to send messages to external systems like PagerDuty, VictorOps, OpsGenie, and Slack, and to other systems that support webhooks. Humio repositories and email are also supported as recipients. Scheduling is defined as a Unix cron expression. There's plenty of online tools to help you set this up for the schedule. We will look at one such tool later on in the demonstration portion of this video. If you need a report run on a regular basis, then Humio Scheduled Searches may be what you're looking for. An example use case is as follows. Say you have a query that shows you the top most notable security events in your environment from the previous week on your data. You can schedule that to have that report delivered to you on a regular basis. Scheduled searches can be managed with the Humio web interface or the GraphQL API. You can also use the Humio audit repository to audit the searches scheduled in your environment. Let's see Humio Scheduled Searches in action. We will use webhooks via the webhook.site, a tool that we used in other videos. Scheduling is done via cron, so I've included crontab.guru to give us some aid with setting up the cron's expression. I've got a Humio instance integrated with LDAP, and then we're going to be using this search here, looking for users with IP address starting at 245 and making a table from that. There's my LDAP and there's my Humio instance. There's the data I'm going to be searching. For purposes of this demo, we will use a schedule setting that runs every minute. In the real world, this would not run so often. It's closer to an alert than a scheduled search. But this is just for demonstration purposes only, so we're not waiting around on cron jobs. So I've got this here, I put in this query. Then I change this to a minute because I just want a minute window. And there's an idea of what we're going to get when we run our report. Scheduled searches are under the Alerts tab in the Humio repository menu. Right below there, the alerts is Scheduled Searches. Add a new scheduled search. And I'll call this just user search for 245. We could put a description if we wanted. We can change the window of time from there to a minute. And then now we've come to our cron expression that we need some help with. So I have crontab.guru here, and I've already set this up to run every minute, and it's just replacing the 0 in the filter in the expression to */1. So we'll add that, */1. Leave the offset and other settings the same, and then we'll come back later and add an action, and there's our scheduled search. Now we're going to need an action to fire off when that scheduled search is hit. So I'm going to call this 245 IP action. Continue. Here are our choices that we covered earlier in the presentation and going with webhook. We're using webhook.site for our test environment, so I'll copy that URL to the clipboard and paste that in as my endpoint URL that I want to hit. We'll leave the method and the HTTP headers the same. I'm going to replace this with some other values, and I'll show you where I get those later. This is our message body template, which is the payload that we'll send to the webhook. So I'm getting that from this list of documented payload items here. I got a URL, the event count, and the events as a JSON array. Skip certificate validation, create my action, go back to my schedule search, and I don't have an action associated with it yet, so I need to associate my action with that, enable it, and I've got that saved. Now this is scheduled and ready to run. Let's go to webhook and look for the data to show up here. When it does run on its schedule, a notification will show up here and my data will show up here. If we go here and go to our scheduled searches, we'll see when it triggers, it will inform us at this location as well. While we're waiting, let's go to the Humio audit repository and look what a search would look like to actually audit what actually is going on in the amount of scheduled searches on our system. So here's a string we can go and monitor. We just look for the repo of audit and look for scheduled search name, and any events with that should tell us what's happening. And there's an example of our audit. Let's check on our schedule search, and there it ran. We have a notification event, we have our URL for the search, the result set, and the event count. We thank you for watching, and we hope you've learned a lot from this instructional video. Stay tuned for more.